I've always felt like I've been really attuned to my sexuality. Like definitely as a kid, felt attractions to many different kinds of people.
I didn't have the vocabulary like for sexuality when I was younger, but I remember experimenting a lot with both boys and girls, like playing house. When I played house with my friend girls, I was often the father. And same with guys, like if we played doctor, oftentimes I was that patient.
I think a lot of my sexuality and exploring myself was self-taught. The only types of things that was shown was from a heteronormative perspective, and there were a lot of things missing for me.
If anything wasn't cis heteronormative, it was just like, okay, that's bad, that's against God's will, and that was it.
I grew up in a conservative Christian environment that thought that anything outside of heterosexual relationships was a type of perversion.
I kind of suppressed my attraction to people who were more like feminine presenting, femmes, girls, whatever. Although I don't know that anybody explicitly ever said this to me, it seemed like that wasn't okay or not what I was supposed to be doing.
I definitely felt a pressure as a Black male to act a certain way. I know I personally have experienced bullying and even violence because of my identity.
I grew up in a household where it was not accepted. There were a lot of hardships that I dealt with, getting put out, coming back home, then getting put out again, and then finally leaving.
I think oftentimes in the Black community, we shut things out that we don't understand or we don't know. If, that's not what was in the church, that's not what, that's not what grandma told us to do, we shut it out.
Like late high school into college, I was like, this is getting a little too hard to continue to suppress. And so I was sort of thinking of myself as bisexual. That was the language that I had at the time in the mid-90s.
Technically, I have not come out per se. There are family members and friends who don't know to this day about my sexuality. And for me, I think that this is a continuous journey.
There were two different coming out stages for me. The first was, of course, coming out as gay. And then my second coming out was me being more comfortable as far as how I wanted to present myself to the world. I'm very gender fluid. I don't mind wearing tight clothes, women's clothes, but I didn't really get comfortable with that until I moved to LA and I started going and experiencing like the ball scene.
It started with accepting it for myself and then finding someone like my current partner who also accepts me. And then it became me branching out to friends and then a broader community.
And I found trans people that I connected with and other people that were non-gender conforming. That's when I started to present myself, I call it, in my true form. And I didn't have to hide behind a facade.
At this point, I identify as pansexual. My attractions don't necessarily have boundaries or containers around gender identity or other sexual identities.
I think the word for me that makes the most sense is open. And I would even say fluid. I haven't made any definitive choice to say I'm only going to be with men or I'm only going to be with women. Just in case my mama sees this and she's like, so are you a lesbian?
As a bisexual person, I think that there's this stigma of being indecisive or being greedy. I've also heard that as well. As a stereotype, we need to realize that it's much more of a spectrum.
Everybody has a cousin or an aunt or a brother or someone in our family who is not just straight or gay. Our gender and our sexuality and our sexual experiences can range, and I don't want us as a system of cultures to get left behind in that that acknowledgement of such.
I think that once those conversations start happening at home, maybe even in school, but more so at home, we can talk about sex a little bit more freely whoever you're having sex with, and there'll be a greater acceptance. And I think that's why it's important to have those conversations.